You're trying to explain how you feel, but it keeps coming out wrong. You're calm, you're clear, and somehow it still turns into an argument or he shuts down. Here's what most people don't realize. It's not what you're saying. It's actually how it's landing for him. In this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly what happens in moments where he shuts down and how you can say what you need to say without triggering a shutdown. Here's what most people miss. Even when you're calm, even when you're trying to say it the right way, there's still things happening in that moment that are triggering a reaction or a shutdown. And most of them, you don't even realize. What feels like a calm response to you may actually feel like a criticism to him. In my private practice, when I'm working with couples, the female partner says something like, all I said was something very simple. Like, why do you never clean up the dishes? You never do this. You always do that. And they say, but I said it calmly. And I'll stop them right there because I'm looking at what they're telling me in that moment. And I'm seeing what they look like and what they sound like. And I see that what they're saying is really not neutral. This is a complaint, sometimes mixed with contempt and resentment. So here's what's really happening underneath it. You're not actually expressing how you really feel in that moment. You're expressing your frustration in the form of a criticism and a complaint. So instead of saying, I feel tired and unsupported, or I feel hurt that you didn't help me with XYZ, it comes out as, why do you never help? Why don't you do anything around the house? You always do this. And this really matters because frustration feels like criticism, blame, and labeling someone as like they're the problem. And naturally, it makes all of us to some degree defensive. You can express the same thing in a much more gentle way. But if you just let the frustration be dumped on the other person, they're not going to take that well. And most of us feel like we're being blamed when someone talks to us like that. But if you had to really convey what's underneath the frustration for you, which is the hurt, then hurt sounds different. Hurt sounds like vulnerability, honesty, gentleness, something someone can actually respond to. So instead of saying, you never help around the house, you may say something like, honey, I'm feeling very overwhelmed and I can really use your help with this. Now, it's not just words. It's your tone, it's your pitch, it's your body language. If you're rolling your eyes while saying it, even if you sound very calm, if you look away, if you check your phone while they're talking and discussing this issue, if you talk over him or cut him off, to you, it feels like I'm hit and I'm alone and frustrated. To him, it feels like I'm the bad guy, I'm being criticized or dismissed. And that is enough to trigger a shutdown. As I'm saying this, can you look back at your interactions with your partner and say, okay, that time, maybe I didn't really convey what I was feeling inside and I showed more of my frustration to you. If you really had to be honest with yourself, would you say yes or no? I want to hear from you in the comments. Again, we're not blaming, we're not taking ownership for something that he needs to take care of, but there's certainly a part you play in this, and I want you to know that part and approach it differently. And I've been at fault over that too. I've done that in my relationship too. So would love to hear from you. Now, talking about ownership brings me to my next point. Sometimes it really has nothing to do with how you deliver things. It's actually how it's being received by him. There are times when you're saying something completely neutral. Can you please put the dishes in the dishwasher? And suddenly he reacts. What do you mean? You don't think I'm doing enough? This is everything I've done all day. Just one more thing for you to complain about. And you're sitting there thinking, what just happened? And this is where oversensitivity comes in. Because what you're saying is not what he's hearing. And it's not your fault. He feels he's being attacked, he's being criticized, even if your tone is perfect and neutral. And that's because he may be someone where in his environment he wasn't allowed to make mistakes. He didn't feel safe enough. Or he always felt like he had to get it right, otherwise he was bad. Now, if you're in a situation like that, the news is you can't really do anything about it. It's him. He has to take ownership and he has to step up to the plate and own his wound and work on it. So in a way, I'm telling you this because if you're banging your head against the wall and saying, I'm doing everything, I'm saying everything, why is he like that? There's nothing you're doing wrong And there's nothing on your end you can do to change this. Absolutely zero. And I see this all the time in my practice. And those are the moments where I leave the female partner, I move to the other partner, and I'm like, listen, she is saying something totally neutral to you, and you're reacting and you're dismissing. So there's nothing wrong with how you're approaching it to the female partner, but I think there's something that you're missing here. You're misunderstanding her. So let's work with that. And that's something we call like the shame spiral, right? Where you share something neutral, he goes into this shame spiral. And if you're that person, if you're at the receiving end of his shutdown because of this, your next step would be to ask him to get help, not to doubt yourself and your reactions. Both you and him can take action. It shouldn't be just you. As I'm saying this, if you're catching yourself, you're like, this is exactly the dynamic I'm dealing with in my relationship. I understand it's really frustrating, but I also want to tell you there's a solution for this. What you're dealing with is not just about saying things better. It's about understanding the pattern you're stuck in, how you're both triggering each other and are stuck in this vicious cycle, and how to step out of this cycle so you feel like a team again, instead of feeling like you're against each other and hurting each other. This is exactly what I help couples do inside my mini course, Conflict to Reconnection. You can check out the mini course at parisacounseling.com/relationship course or sign up for it in the link in the description below. But stay with me, because the next part is where actually things start to shift. Even if you know this much, you can still take control of this pattern before that pattern takes control of your relationship. Your awareness gives you a different way to respond in moments like this. Instead of dealing with frustration, complaints, urgency, tone it down a little bit. You can lead with clarity, vulnerability, and better timing. An example, instead of saying to him, why do you always do this? You can say something like, can we figure out a better way to handle this together? So instead of triggering defensiveness and shutdown, you are opening the door for him to be more open, to collaborate with you. And that creates a real chance for you to be heard, because he's more likely to let you in. But if you approach him at a time where he's overwhelmed, it's going to be more shutdown. But here's where most women get stuck. They're trying to stop this cycle, but the cycle happens so fast that before they realize it, they're already in the cycle, feeling misunderstood, unheard, and stuck in the same pattern again. To stop the cycle, you really need to catch it in the moment and know what to do to get things back on track. And that's exactly what I'll show you in the video on your screen right now.